I confess, I don't really water my plants. I somehow have this love-hate relationship with watering plants. Sometimes I would lose track of time and I forgot to water them, or I would be overwatering them. I know you will bring up the finger dip test, but I get confused with how my finger should feel when I dip it in. And sometimes I kind of do that a little too late. Like the time during the heat wave a few months ago, I took notice too late that one of my trees was suffering from drought stress and eventually lost half its leaves. It's a new tree. I was devastated and dived into researching and eventually found this solution. Before I tell you about the solution, I need to tell you a little backstory because they are sort of related. Remember recently I got 2 new plants and one of them was an umbrella fig tree that needed repotting because it was so root bound. So I drove to a few local stores to find a pot that is nice looking and right size for my plant. Well, it took me a while, but I finally found one that I like. I got the staff to open a bigger drainage hole. And then I drove to another store to pick up some new soil. I've been going to this shop so frequently, I've made friends. Now, on the topic of soil, it's important to know the soil preference of the plant, as it will affect our watering decisions. Yeah, there was a swarm of mosquitoes surrounding me. I don't want to be keeping a lot of soil media at home, and so I chose this premixed soil that is quite porous, chunky, and lightweight with soil organic matters. That has a mix of perlite, pinewood bark, cocoa husk, charcoal, compost, and lots of large pumice. And so I began the repotting process. But the plant is so root-bound, I could hardly loosen it. So in the end, I just put it into the new pot as it is, added a lot of pumice to keep it even more porous. Now that I'm done with repotting, let's go back to the watering solution that I was talking about from the beginning. I rely on an auto drip irrigation system. Basically, I installed a digital timer device directly at the taps at the balcony that will control the water flow through the tap. And then I connect a 1/2-inch main tube and pull the tube around the perimeter surrounding my garden. I close off the end of the tubes like this. Now, depending on where I plan to place my pots, I puncture holes on the 1/2-inch tubes nearest to the pots like this, and then insert the connectors or couplings that have been attached to the 1/4-inch smaller dripper tube like this. At the other end of the 1/4-inch dripper tube, I twist on end-of-line drippers like this and keep them in place by using sticks like this. These are the 3 different types of pressure of drippers that I could get hold of from my local store. And I play around with the pressure and drip rate of these drippers according to plant watering needs. Sometimes I would install 2 drippers per pot for those more water-intensive plants. I also program the frequency of the timer device according to soil drainage and watering needs of my plants, like watering once in 5 days and 8 minutes of continuous dripping, for example. And because my plants are mostly placed in an outdoor balcony, excess water would easily flow out from the drainage hole at the bottom of the pots and into the drains. Now back to the umbrella fig tree. Now that I have repotted it, I'm going to connect it to the auto irrigation system as well. The pot is quite big, but I am using rather loamy soil medium, so I think just one of this large water pressure dripper should be sufficient to water the plant. Let's do a quick test of the water flow with the manual setting. It's too much. Let's adjust the flow a little bit. Much better. Also, not forgetting the other new plant, the Philodendron maximum, that I have placed at this corner next to the Paraiso Verde, but I want the drip to begin from the top of the moss pole, and so I tie the dripper at the top like this. Running a little manual testing again, I think I like it. So having an auto irrigation system and running a fixed watering schedule doesn't mean that I am completely hands-off. I still frequently check on the soil and adjust the flow rate of each and every pot, and also change the timer settings from time to time. I've installed this system by myself. It's been 7 months now, and so far my plants are doing well. Now my plants are placed in the balcony that is open to the natural tropical environment like heat and rain, so I have to learn to take care of them a little differently from plants that are placed indoors. Now before we end this story, I am going to make another confession. I bought more plants recently. I got a Bilietier, Ring of Fire, and Pink Princess. I can't wait to see how they will be under my care.